Unraveling the mysteries of modal verbs in English. Delving into third conditional obligations. Hello, English learners. Welcome to another interesting session on English grammar. Today, we're going to focus on a very specific but crucial aspect of English language learning. Using modal verbs for obligation in the third conditional. Don't worry if that sounds complex. We'll break it down into understandable parts for you. Let's start with a quick recap. Modal verbs are helper verbs that express necessity, possibility, permission, or ability. Examples include must, should, could, would, etc. On the other hand, third conditionals are used to talk about unreal situations in the past, that is, things that did not happen but could have happened. When we talk about obligation, we typically use modal verbs such as must, have to, should. Each of these conveys a slightly different level of obligation or necessity. For instance, must is used for strong obligations, have to for objective obligations, and should for recommendations or advice. Now, here's where things get interesting. When we use modal verbs for obligation within third conditional sentences, we're essentially talking about past obligations or duties that were not fulfilled. Here's an example. If you had studied harder, you should have passed the exam. In this sentence, should have passed is expressing an unfulfilled past obligation, the obligation to pass the exam that was not met. Remember that the structure for this is if plus past perfect tense, modal plus have plus past participle. Let's look at a few more examples to understand this better. 1. If you had known about the traffic, you should have left earlier. 2. If she had taken her medicine, she must not have felt sick. 3. If he had received the warning, he would have had to change his plans. In all these examples, you can see that the obligations, leaving earlier, not feeling sick, changing plans, were not met, which is indicated by the use of modal verbs in the main clause. And there we have it. You've now learned how to use modal verbs for obligation in third conditional sentences. It might seem tricky at first, but with practice, it'll become second nature. Keep practicing with different sentences, and soon you'll be a pro at using these constructions. Remember, English is a fascinating language with lots of intricacies, and understanding these complexities is what makes you a proficient speaker. Happy learning, and we'll see you in our next video.